It's now my honor to invite the president of Tel Aviv University, Professor Ariel Porat, to deliver his address.
Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to see you all here. I want to thank you, especially people coming from abroad, that you took the risk and fly to Israel. This is very, very important, not only to Tel Aviv University, but I think to Israelis in general, that people are identified with us not just by words, but also by deeds. So thank you so much. I would like to start by saying that we all pray and hope for the safe and fast return of all the hostages still held in Gaza. A lot has been said about the exceptional gift of Mindy and John Gray to Tel Aviv University, a donation of $125 million for the benefit of the medical faculty. It's an unprecedented gift. As you know, the largest one ever received by Tel Aviv University and among the largest ever given to an academic institution, maybe to any institution in Israel. Mindy and John are true friends of the state of Israel. They are true friends of the Jewish people and obviously great friends of Tel Aviv University. This is an opportunity to thank to the Grays from the bottom of my heart on behalf of Tel Aviv University, on behalf of the state of Israel, and also on behalf of myself. So thank you, the Grays, for what you have done for us and for the state of Israel. Let's have now a short video clip to give you some impression of what we have had here just a couple of weeks ago with the Grace. So the first clip.
In Israel's thriving center, at Tel Aviv University, we have dedicated the biggest medical faculty in the country as the Gray Faculty of Medical and Health Sciences. The Gray Gift will advance these schools: medicine, medical sciences, public health, dentistry, and health professions. Expand classroom and lab space with the construction of a biomed building, and strengthen the faculty's partnership with 18 hospitals, serving half of Israel's population. The Gray faculty will train over 5,000 medical professionals annually. Sophisticated labs will attract research superstars, accelerate life-saving diagnostics and drugs, and solidify Israel's medical leadership. The Gray faculty will boost Israel's competitiveness and contribution to global health. The Gray Faculty of Medical and Health Sciences.
This is also an opportunity for me to thank the Sackler family that reached an agreement with Tel Aviv University more than 2 years ago. They agreed to remove the name of the Sackler family for the Faculty of Medicine and from the medical school. And this what paved the way to this exceptional donation of the Grace. So I want to thank the Sackler family from here. I want to start the State of the University part of the Board of Governors meeting by speaking about some of the general challenges that the university is facing since October 7 and even earlier, sometimes together with the State of Israel. So let's see if I know how to operate it. Okay. So the first challenge is obviously our student soldiers. As you know, at the peak, there were about 7,000 students at Tel Aviv University that served in the IDF. In any minute, and even now, there are about 1,000 students serving in the reserve. And Tel Aviv University, together with many of the people sitting here, succeeded to provide them financial assistance, scholarships to enable them to complete the academic year. We also provided them an academic support, and I am very proud to say that after a year and a half, we could say that we succeeded, and they succeeded, not only to complete the academic year, but also to do it in a great success. And so generally, the average dropout rate among reservist students are the same as the general population of students, and also their average score are the same as the average score of the other students. So this is something that, first of all, should be credited for the students, but Tel Aviv University have done quite a lot with your help, with the emergency fund that we established just starting a few weeks after October 7. The second challenge, which is not just of the university, kind of a national challenge, is preserving and retaining talents here at the university. Some people, as you could imagine, reconsider their future plans given the situation in Israel. And at the same time, also to bring back postdoc and doctorate students of us that studied in some of the most prestigious universities in the world, to convince them to return to Israel and to take positions at Tel Aviv University. This is always a challenge, and these days it becomes even more challenging because, as I said, for some people, Israel is considered to be less attractive. And what we could offer them, except of our optimism about the future of Israel, is providing them with working conditions that would be as good as what they can get in the best universities abroad. So we compete with Stanford, MIT, Harvard, and others. For that, we need a lot of resources. And here, too, I would mention some of our donors that helped us in creating this fund that is so essential these days to bring back Israelis to Tel Aviv University. I would mention Leslie Crown, Judy and Stuart Colton, and Dr. Anita Friedman with the Porat Foundation, and many others who supported us in this effort. The third challenge I would like to say a few words about, that you have already heard about, I guess also last year, is the post-trauma, what we call the post-trauma center, the Center for Traumatic Stress and Resilience, that we established just a couple of months after October 7. We also working on a building, the Miriam and Moshe Schuster building, that it's about to be, the construction is about to be completed in less than a year. We decided also to add 2 additional floors. I wish we didn't have the need to do so, but as you could understand, post-trauma is something that would be a challenge for Israel for quite a long time, and we take part in confronting this challenge. And there is, of course, the BDS. The BDS is not only still with us, actually it's even stronger than before. If we compare the BDS of today to, say, half a year ago, it becomes worse. All universities together composed a professional team working together to mitigate some of the consequences of the BDS, sometimes successfully, sometimes not. There is this institutional BDS by some universities, sometimes all universities in one country that decided to boycott the Israeli academia. Sometimes they target specifically Tel Aviv University. And there is also, in addition to the institutional boycotting of Israeli academia, there is also what we call soft boycotting, which is something that it's a little bit less identified, which is those cases in which Israelis are not invited to conferences for some reason, or their papers are not taken by some journals, and there is a suspicion that it is not a coincidence, and there is some intention behind it. And we try to work with that. Milet Shamir is my VP for International Collaborations, make a lot of great work together with our colleagues in other universities. While these are challenges, there is some positive or positive, I would say, impact to the ties generally between Israel and the diaspora, the Jewish diaspora, and it is also reflected through Tel Aviv University. We see more and more Israelis, Jewish around the globe that even though before October 7 were felt maybe less connected to Israel, now they feel much more connected. This mega donation that we got for the Grace, definitely the trigger was the October 7 events, and that's what made them feel more connected to Israel, understanding that the future of the Jewish people and the future of the state of Israel go together. So this is a little bit about the challenges, and let me now, being a little bit more specific, and speaking about some specific projects that are taking place at the university in the last year. So starting with our international ties. Just about a couple of months ago, Milet Shamir and myself traveled to the United States and met some of the top university presidents, including Harvard University, Columbia University, Northwestern University, Illinois, the Illinois system universities, and also we traveled to Germany to Goethe University. When we talked especially with our American colleagues, there were mainly three topics. The first and the most important one is about combating anti-Semitism. I think they all acknowledge and understand that there were failures after October 7 and for a few months and even more than few months. Some of those presidents are not the presidents that were the presidents on October 7, so it's easy to talk with them and to analyze with them the mistakes of the predecessor. It's always nice to talk with a president why his predecessor could have done better. I'm kidding, of course. Not in our case. In our case, we had a great president before me. So that was the first topic to discuss about combating anti-Semitism and about the steps that should be taken and could be taken to mitigate consequences of anti-Semitism, and also the anti-Israelism, if you could say so. These activities mostly by pro-Palestinian organizations against Israeli students and professors, both Israeli Americans and also Israelis coming to conferences, etc. So we have, I think, fruitful discussion with them about that. We also discussed, I couldn't resist the temptation also to discuss with them some of the challenges that they might confront with the administration, the new administration. But I think that, we had, unfortunately, also some experience here with that, so we talked about that too. It was just a couple of days before the new American president imposed sanctions on Columbia University and later on Harvard, so the timing was good in this respect. And the other topic that we discussed, it's about the academic relationship with those universities. Some of them are very eager, more than before, to deepen the relationship with Tel Aviv University for their own reasons. Sometimes it's because they care about the Jewish donors, or maybe just have some regrets about what happened after October 7. Whatever the reasons are, we have tried to explore opportunities. So as you know, with Columbia University, we have a very successful program on humanities together with internship and life science. So we discussed this program and others. Also with Northwestern, we have a multidimensional relationship in many fields, and there was a lot of willingness on their side to deepen those relationships. Now, generally, when I look at the campus, we could see that there is some return to normalcy in terms of a presence of international students and visiting professors here on campus. Not the same as before. Still, the war is effective, and people take it into consideration when they decide whether to come to Israel or not. But I could say that if immediately after October 7, there was a huge decline in the number of international students at the university. Now we have about 1,400, which is still not the regular number. We used to have 3,000. But I believe that in a year or so, of course, depending on the development here in the area, we would reach the 3,000, and later on, I'm sure that we would be able to go further. And this is extremely important for us. At the moment, there are 30 visiting professors coming from the best universities in the world here at Tel Aviv University. During the year, there are 140 either new agreements with universities abroad or renewal of existing agreements, which is quite a nice number, showing that while there is a BDS, there is also people who are willing to to have an academic relationship with Tel Aviv University. And there are about 300 students of Tel Aviv University who participated in exchange programs with other universities all over the world. You know, one of the efforts taken by the government and by the state of Israel is to absorb Olim Chadashim, new immigrants to Israel. This is a national mission, and Tel Aviv University participates in this mission as well. So we opened recently a program at the Faculty of Social Sciences designed for Olim, for immigrants from France. First year is taught in French, with the expectation that after 1 year, the students would be able to continue their studies in Hebrew. So I think this is a very nice initiative run by both Milet Shamir and the Faculty of Social Sciences with the Dean and others. Another similar program we have at the Faculty of Engineering. So at both the School of Electrical Engineering and the School of Mechanical Engineering, we have a program under which the first year is taught in English, and the rest is in Hebrew. So here too, Olim Chadashim, new immigrants, could come, study first year in their own language. Of course, they should work hard to be able to catch up later on, you know, in Hebrew. Of course, we provide Ulpan classes, and we do whatever we can to support them. And there are some new international programs in addition to what I've just described to you. So there is a new program on Jewish Studies, MA for Jewish Studies, with collaboration with Porat Foundation and Goethe University. And there is an MSc program in digital health, online degree with collaboration of 6 universities in Europe, which is quite, it's not taken for granted that there would be 6 universities in Europe that would collaborate with us in one specific, very important program. So this is some points about development on the international front of Tel Aviv University. Let me say now a few words about, about multidisciplinarity and related issues. So as has been mentioned, I reported you last year that we are working on having a virtual school for the environment, a multidisciplinary school. It's based on the Porter School, the very successful Porter School, and the heritage of Shirley Porter. And we work together with the Shirley family to do the best we could in order to advance environment at Tel Aviv University. Second point I would mention is that thanks to the Gray donation and another donation that we are working at these days, hopefully would be concluded in a couple of months, we would be able to construct a huge construction for laboratories and other spaces for biomed research. It would serve both the medical faculty and also the faculty of life science, and together with researchers coming from the faculty of engineering, bioengineering, and computer science, and data science, and more. And we also hope to attract hospitals, you know, those hospitals affiliated to us. We have 18 hospitals affiliated to Tel Aviv University, that they would also participate, and also the industry, and together to have a hub, kind of an ecosystem in biomed. I think that the Gray donation, together with the new donation that we hope to conclude soon, would really be an upgrade, a game changer, not only at Tel Aviv University, but for the health system in Israel in general. My dream is to do in the next year something similar also with engineering and exact sciences, and to get a huge donation, hopefully the same size. You know, you could always hope for more, but to get a huge donation, also for do something similar with exact sciences and engineering. You know, it's state-of-the-art laboratories is a precondition for good research. So we have great talents, but talents is not enough. You need equipment, you need top-of-the-art laboratories. And this is important for existing researchers, but also to, as I mentioned before, to attract top professors, Israelis or non-Israelis, to come to Tel Aviv University for good. Let me now say a few words about, generally about multidisciplinary centers at Tel Aviv University. You know, one of the flags that I wave from the first minute at my office is multidisciplinarity at Tel Aviv University. We have the advantage of being a very comprehensive university with so many fields, and we want to take the advantage of that. This is an added value that we should and could use. So we established numerous multidisciplinary centers. One of the most successful one is what we call TAD, which is a Center for AI and Data Science. It has been established thanks to a generous donation of Len Blavatnik. And this center is a multidisciplinary one because while at the core of the center there are scientists from computer science and electrical engineering, there are ties potentially to all departments of the university. There is a lot of work done here. You know, one of the most important, maybe the main challenge of us, not only of us, all universities in Israel, is what we call computing power. Computing power is a prerequisite to success in AI research, although we do have, of course, some computational power. Otherwise, we could close the faculty, the School of Computer Science and the Center for AI and Data Science. In order to really get an achievements that are comparable to what the best universities in the world do, we need much more computing power, and this is extremely expensive. We are working together with other universities vis-a-vis the government to try to get some funds. So far, with no success. Maybe it will change in the future, but we desperately need donations to make it happen. That's one of the priorities of the university, to get funds for computing power at Tel Aviv University to benefit, of course, not only the center I mentioned, the TAD, but also the School of Computer Science, but actually not only them, actually the entire university, because everybody now needs computing power. So let's see now a clip that would illustrate you what does it mean, multidisciplinary work, AI together with other fields. So there is a...
So it's a microbial world out there, and I love it, and we love studying it. My name is Professor David Burstein. I'm a professor here in Tel Aviv University. My lab does bioinformatics. That is a combination of computer science and biology. Most of the microbes in the world are either benign or beneficial. We have bacteria in our gut, on our skin, in the ocean, in the soil, and they are a major part of these global ecosystems. Some of our main avenues of research is identifying new antimicrobial resistant genes. These are genes that bacteria use in order to fight with antibiotics. We use the cutting-edge computational tools in order to dissect and analyze microbial genomes to understand what these genes do. One of the main interests in the lab is applying large language models to biomedical research. We were the first lab in the world using large language model to read gene by gene. This allows us to understand what the function of the gene is based on the context of the gene, like large language model understand what the meaning of a word is based on its context. Our AI tool that is basically like a ChatGPT for bacteria has been developed into a web server where we have an atlas of all the words in the bacterial world, which in our sense is all the genes in the bacterial world. The problem is that in bacteria there are many unknown genes, and our atlas can help any researcher around the world to better understand the meaning of the genes that they are studying or the genes around the genes they are studying for their own benefit. The AI community in Tel Aviv provide connections with people from all kinds of disciplines. So some disciplines in linguistics or even in archaeology or in music can be relevant to biology. So this community around AI and data science is definitely one of the best things in Tel Aviv University. And I think what gives me the edge over labs in other universities is specifically the students that are very well versed both in biology and computer science. One of the things that I'm most optimistic about is the next generation of Israeli scientists.
Relationship with the industry. So just about a year ago, we created a new office for industrial relationship of Tel Aviv University. And the head of that office is Chagai Itkin. Is Chagai here? No, he's not here? Okay. So Chagai Itkin. Chagai Itkin is also the chair of Ramot, which is the technology transfer unit of Tel Aviv University. I'm sure you all know how important it is to enable those researchers who work on translational science to be able to that their inventions would be implemented for the benefit of society, for the benefit of Israel, and sometimes for the benefit of the world. And for that reason, it's important to work with the industry, closely with the industry, and that's also benefit not only the researchers, but also students later on in their career, having connections, etc. So this is one thing. Another thing I just mentioned briefly, as you know, we have a close relationship with hospitals affiliated to us. I mentioned it before. So there are, last year I reported about a new center that the university established at Ichilov and Soraski Medical Center for digital health, very successful center. And about a year ago, we received a generous donation from the Helmsley Foundation for a simulation center at the medical faculty. That would also, it's very critical to the education of new doctors and others at the medical faculty, but would also, I believe, strengthen relationship with hospitals. I want to mention one more thing, which is about entrepreneurship, right? Industry, entrepreneurship, everything is connected. So, more than a year ago, we got a very generous gift from Dan Holtzman. I don't know if Dan is here. Okay, he's not, okay. Dan Holtzman is going to receive an honorary doctorate from Tel Aviv University this evening. And with his donation, we created a center that its goal is to take inventions or take ideas, even by students, emerging from campus and pushing them to being startups. And that's a very ambitious goal. And after a year, I could say that it works well. Of course, there is a long way to go until we would see fruits of those startups. Let me now turn to the next topic, which is equity, diversity, and inclusion. I am afraid to ask whether Neta Ziv is here, but since I see you, I can ask, are you here? Yes, she's here. She's Vice President for Equality, Diversity, and Community. Let me just mention a few projects, new projects from recent year. One is what we call the Goodman Project. It's Jonathan Goodman, another recipient, future recipient of honorary doctorate from Tel Aviv University this evening. So Jonathan, together with others, established this fantastic project, which is dedicated to students of Ethiopian origin. And it's on the one hand increasing enrollment of students from the Ethiopian community to the university, and also, if necessary, to help them in different ways with scholarships and others to make them whatever we can that they would succeed in their studies. Another initiative which is especially interesting is the one that was initiated by David Bezov to commemorate his late father, Joseph Bezov. And this is to have here on campus premises a playground, an accessible playground for the community, for children with disabilities and their families, together with families with children with no disabilities, in order to integrate disabled children and able children. I think this is a wonderful project that I hope that would be implemented in a year, maybe a little bit more than a year, and that would be one way of the university to have an impact on the community. Another involvement of Tel Aviv University with the community is with the North. So when the war on the North was in its peak, I traveled with some of my colleagues to the North, met several mayors, and asked them what Tel Aviv University could do to help, exactly as we did immediately after October 7 to the South. If you remember, Tel Aviv University was involved quite deeply in various activities on the South, and we wanted to see whether we could do anything for the North. And they came to us with an interesting idea. They say, the most important thing now is that at the North, especially those communities which are very close to the border, it's especially important that the education system from age 0 to 18 would be excellent, because that's what would attract people to return to the North, knowing that the education system is great, and also would encourage people who are not former residents to consider moving to the North. So we took this mission upon ourselves. We are very close to completing this mission, and I believe that in a month or so we would be able to present it to the leaders on the North, and hopefully it would be implemented. Another very important contribution of Tel Aviv University, it has been led by Tel Aviv University. Of course, we did it with collaboration with other professors around the, other universities that are relevant to the field, and also working together with the people on the ground in different places on the North. We might even have, this is just at the moment very preliminary, we consider now even having a university school on the North. Still preliminary, I would be happy to say more if you like in the Q&As. Last thing is a project that exists for quite a long time at Tel Aviv University. We call it Ir Academit, Academic City. Liat Kishon Rabin, well, I'm afraid to ask, I knew that you are here. I can trust you, I know. So Liat Kishon Rabin, she's the Dean for Innovative Teaching and Learning, and she also leads this initiative. And last year, more cities, most of them are in the periphery of Israel, joined the program. Generally what we do, we provide MOOCs to developing cities, mostly developed cities, so cities in the periphery, to high schools in those cities, and we guide them how to teach the students, and eventually they can also get a credit that would be effective if they join later on Tel Aviv University. So we have those collaboration with Dimona, Nahariya, Bat Yam, Be'er Sheva, and even Kseife, which is a Bedouin town. Let me say a few concluding remarks. We couldn't do what you see now and many other things without your support, without the support of people either from Israel or outside of Israel. Without donations, we wouldn't be able to do more than maintaining what we have and maybe teaching students, but not to do the high quality research done at Tel Aviv University. So thank you so much for that. The huge donation by Mindy and John Gray is an illustration how by supporting a university, supporting Israeli academia, you support the state of Israel. And that's the same thing also with other donations. Strong universities in Israel, meaning strong Israel. And that's especially important these days for securing the future of Israel. So let me now just, with a very short clip, let's see some of the donations that we have got in recent years, except of the huge one from the Grace. So let's see a clip of donations from $1 million and above. Needless to say that all donations are important. We take even $100,000. It's not just from $1 million and above. But for the shortage of time, we'll see only those donations above $1 million.
New projects since BOG 2024. Projects $1 million and above. Support for the Schuster Building for the Center for Traumatic Stress and Resilience and for PTSD treatment. Charles, Evelyn, and Sandra Delansky Floor. Charles, Evelyn, and Sandra Delansky Seminar Room and Terrace, Canada. Coombe Wing. Coombe Trauma and Anxiety Treatment Fund. Coombe Family Foundation, USA. Supporting Foundation Fund. Anonymous, USA. Joseph Bazov Accessible Playground. David Bazov, Canada. Baden Head and Neck Pathology Institute. Support for Practice and Simulation Complex in Dental Medicine. Dr. Ernest Baden Estate, USA. Post-October 7th Municipal Services Initiative of the Bloomberg Sagol Center for City Leadership. Bloomberg Philanthropies, USA. Support for President's Discretionary Fund. Support for President's Recruitment Fund. Lester Crown, USA. Tzemach David Foundation Olim Integration Program, USA. Galperin Family Fortified Wheat Project. Galperin Family Periphery Scholarship Fund, Argentina. Goodman Fellowship Project. Morris and Rosalind Goodman Foundation, Canada. Support for the President's Discretionary Fund. Porat Foundation, USA. Renewed support for the Minducate Learning Innovation Center Research, Drs. Gary Ryant and Kathy Fields, USA. Richter Institute for Medicine of the Future, Drs. Jacob Kobe and Judith Richter, Israel. Weisfeld Family Charitable Foundation Animal Habitat Initiative, Canada. Win Weinswag Family Lobby and Entrance Plaza at the Azrieli Architecture Building, Win Family Charitable Foundation, Canada. Historic gift, $125 million. Gray Faculty of Medical and Health Sciences. Gray School of Medicine. Gray School of Medical Sciences. Mindy and John Gray Building, Gray Foundation, USA.
Before we go to the stage of the Q&A, let me thank, first of all, to all of you, to all the governors of Tel Aviv University, those who are here and those who are not here, for their support. So important for us. These days, we feel more than before how much connected Tel Aviv University and the people in Israel to the Jewish diaspora. And thank you for the leadership of the university. Of course, nothing could have happened without the provost, the director general, the vice presidents, the vice provost, the deans, the heads of schools. This goes without saying. I want to thank my friend Daphna Mitar Nechmad, the chair of the Board of Governors, for a wonderful work she's doing along the year. I want to thank my friend Eli Gelman, the head of the Executive Council, for being a great friend, advisor, and working with me along the way from the last 6 years or so. And of course, I want to thank the faculty, the wonderful faculty that we have, the administrative staff, but most of all, I want to thank to our students. These are the future of Israel. So I think that now I will be very happy to take questions, and please, if there are any questions? Yes, excuse me, because of the light, it's hard to identify. Yes, Dado, right? I mean, yeah, there is some, yes.
Hi, Shalom. First of all, congratulations on your leadership. Over and over again, you've proven to be the right and necessary leader here at Tel Aviv University. And quick questions. You briefly mentioned in terms of the budget, relationship with the government, perhaps some cutting of funds. I'd be interested to know more about this. And also, if you can expand a little bit more on the talks you've had with US universities about recent talks that you had, the trip that you had there, because I think this is very important, the fact that they are open towards fostering closer relationship with Tel Aviv University after all the backlash that happened.
Yeah. So as to the first question, yes, it's not a secret that there is a tension between the entire Israeli academia, all universities, not just Tel Aviv University, and the Ministry of Education. It's about academic freedom, and it's about many other things. I think you have heard about that. And one example which is illustrative, there is every year, there is this issue with the Nakba Day. You know, the Nakba, which is a ceremony done by Palestinian and sometimes non-Palestinian students. It is done at Tel Aviv University as every year outside of the university on the campus gate. And even before it happened, the Minister of Education attacked both Tel Aviv University and Hebrew University, remember, a day before it happened, for enabling the Nakba Day. In fact, it has been, in order to do what they did, they need to get permission by the police. If I had a sense of humor, I would say to the Minister of Education, you should complain to the Minister of Ben-Gvir, the Minister of National Security, how he gave a permission to the Nakba Day. Why do you come to me? But I don't have such a sense of humor. So that's an example of an attack on Tel Aviv University and the Hebrew University with no reason whatsoever. As I said, with us, it's a day before it happened. He was not aware that it hadn't happened yet. He wasn't aware, or maybe, I don't know if he was aware or not, that it is being permitted by the police. He seems to be not aware that it took place outside the campus, and needless to say, that the university spent 0 shekels, because he also says that we spend public money, we spend zero shekels, not just because it's not about the Nakba. While there are protests, etc., the university does not take any part, financially or otherwise. So this is an example. But as I say, this is a challenge for all universities in Israel. Before October 7, when there was the legal reform issue, all universities, including Ariel University and Bar Ilan University, signed a letter opposing the legal reform. There are some people here of our donors that took part as well. There is Jeremy here and Ariel David, who is not here, and others that stand also with us and say very clearly that they would stop their activities in Israel if the legal reform would not be stopped. So whatever one thinks about the legal reform, you should remember that all university leaders in Israel were part of it. To your second point, as I said, it's hard to tell what exactly the motivation. It could be mixed motivations of other international universities to more collaborate with us. So on the one hand, there is the BDS, cutting relationship, etc. But at the same time, there are other universities that want to deepen their ties. Sometimes there are those universities that maybe have some guilt feelings about what happened immediately after October 7, and some others might do it for genuine reasons. I must mention mostly, most universities in Germany were superb, and the relationship with German, the German university president visited in Israel, literally visited in Israel just a few weeks after October 7, right, to show their being an identification with Israel and with the Israeli academia. Yeah, other questions? Yes, please.
Wait a second, please.
There isn't a university in Canada that isn't anti-Semitic at the highest levels. We have lawsuits now against University of Montreal, McGill. I'm working on a number of legal actions against my own university. The medical school now has informal quotas against Jewish students. We are living in a crisis situation, and I've been involved in public life for over 60 years, and I've never seen it as bad. Your advice?
Yes. So as I've said, when I met those presidents, the first topic to discuss was combating anti-Semitism on campuses. I also should mention that there are a few initiatives, including institutes. Ariela Kotler is here. There is the Erwin Kotler Institute for Democracy and Combating Anti-Semitism and Racism. And there are a lot of other initiatives, including professors that are working on related issues. And so we try to get involved as much as we can mostly in giving advices. You should remember that at the end of the day, we are a university, and there is a limit to what a university could do in other countries in order to affect governments, etc. So what we do is mostly vis-a-vis universities. We speak with them. This is the first topic to be discussed with any leader at any university in the United States. I wish we could do more. There was an initiative that we talked about a year ago. It didn't happen yet, which, well, we do something similar to the Erwin Kotler, something analogical, namely to bring mostly young people, it shouldn't necessarily be young, but the profile probably would be like young people in their early career stages from Jewish communities who want to have kind of a a profession of combating anti-Semitism through their communities, and we thought that Tel Aviv University could bring them to Tel Aviv University and to equip them with the tools necessary to do that. And this is still something that we are aiming at doing maybe in the future. That would be something maybe in line of what you're asked. Yes, other questions? Oh, I'm sorry, Ariela.
So I'd like to follow on the previous answer of yours. First of all, to congratulate you on a beautiful, comprehensive report, and also to congratulate Tel Aviv University, among others, to finally do the wonderful thing of adopting the IRA definition. My question is, in order to facilitate for other universities around the world and for universities in Israel, is there going to be any mechanism developed and in place in order to actualize what the IRA definition aims to do, and how is it going to work? Thank you.
The IRA definition has been adopted at the level of VERA, which is the Commission of University Presidents and Provosts. It has not been adopted formally by University Senate. So it has definitely, the spirit of the definition, well, the definition itself and also the spirit of the examples of the definition definitely would affect us all. And we did it in order to, since it has been adopted by many universities abroad, we decided to do the same thing. And but legally speaking, I don't see any legal implication for that in Israel, even if for the simple reason that there is no anti-Semitism in Israel. But still, it's important to do it. It's it's not. I'm serious about that. It's important, to signal how much we care and how about anti-Semitism. That we are part of the war against anti-Semitism. Even though there are a lot of disadvantages in Israel, anti-Semitism is not one of them. Yes. Who wanted to ask? Yeah. Yeah, please. Yes, please.
I'd like to ask you, is there an outreach to non-Jewish people in terms of some of the initiatives that you're trying to do? I was on the board of the Weizmann Institute quite a few years ago, and we spent a lot of time targeting sympathetic non-Jewish people, and it was a very powerful initiative.
Yeah. So, well, of course, the university is open to Jewish and non-Jewish alike. This goes without saying. Among the international students, of course, many of them are non-Jewish, and we are very happy to have Jewish and non-Jewish students with us. As to professors, yes, we do have international professors. We have visiting professors, and visiting professors could be Jewish or non-Jewish. As to full-time professors here at the university, the number of full-time professors who are non-Jewish is not high. I wish we could have more. And I think that this is similar also in all other universities, maybe a little bit different in Weizmann. Maybe the ratio of international professors at Weizmann is higher than at Tel Aviv University, but I generally agree with you that that's, generally, as you know, the general question is how many non-Jewish people come to Israel to stay. Right? There are, but not so many. And so it is reflected also through the academia. But I totally agree with your vision that I wish there would be more international professors at the university. Of course, that when we speak about collaboration with colleagues, etc., we don't. I myself have collaborators that, when in my academic stage, when I used to write articles and books, I hope to do it once again. But anyway, you don't, if there is someone that in your field and you have a good idea to work with, you don't care whether he's Jewish or not, and there are a lot of collaborations with non-Jewish professors. Yes, please. Yes.
Thank you. It later occurred to me as I was listening to you, do we have an approach for the day after, and is there any place in the university that has studied, let's assume that there is a vision that all of a sudden we need it since nobody in politics is doing it. is there somewhere in the university something that is actually practical and has been received with Arab countries and the United States and so on? I was involved in some of those and they did not go anywhere. And just one other comment about anti-Semitism, since I sit on the executive board of MIT. As long as there is a war here, it will get worse. And I've been combating anti-Semitism for a year and a half. There's nothing that the university presidents can do. Ours survived, but others didn't. And I'm sorry to say that, but this is the first step for the day after on anti-Semitism too.
Yeah. So to the second question, you know, we do whatever we can to mitigate some of the consequences of, well, not necessarily anti-Semitism, but more boycotting the universities, etc. Sometimes we are successful. We could be more, but I agree that as long as the war is going on, things are much more difficult in many respects. To your first point, of course, there are, you know, if you go to the School of Political Science at the Faculty of Social Sciences, you will have a lot of researchers working on such questions. There is an initiative at the university by professors coming from different disciplines. Actually, I think it emerged a couple of months after October 7, when people realized that we need to think about the day after. We cannot have a war forever without plan, without a program. So yes, there are professors working on that. There are some groups working on that. And if you have any interest, we could combine you with those people. Excuse me?
Working with politicians or people who are thinking about becoming politicians?
Yeah. You know, there are all kinds of initiatives in Israel, not just at Tel Aviv University, about the day after. Some philanthropists that do all kinds of works. We can see public figures, mostly former, you know, either ministers or generals, etc., trying to think, and Tel Aviv University is part of it. There is also the INSS. You know, the INSS is an important institute which is affiliated with Tel Aviv University. Actually, it's a center which is an external center, it's an external institute of Tel Aviv University, and people there working on many issues, including the day after. Yeah. Other questions?
Yeah.
Yes, Yaakov.
I think that some of us, or all of us, are mixing a little bit between anti-Israeli and anti-Semitism.
Mm-hmm.
There are two different feelings. And
so maybe you could complete the question. Yes, please.
I expected, especially from this direction, this kind of reaction.
Okay, so let's go to the question. Yes, what's the question?
The question is whether the Tel Aviv University is putting any efforts in resolving anti-Israeli feelings and anti-Semitism in a different manner.
As I said before, you know, we do have centers and institutes on anti-Semitism, and definitely this is an issue that we are engaged with from a long time ago. And as I already said, you know, we try to do what we can when we speak with leaders in universities abroad to see how, and also to put some pressure upon them to take steps in order to decrease both anti-Semitism and not exactly anti-Israelism. I think more accurate to say we don't want our students or professors or Israeli professors to be bullied, or so that's the main thing. It's not, you know, if people criticize the Israeli government, this is not our business. We are apolitical. And, you know, critics of the government does not mean that you are anti-Semitic, does not mean that you are anti-Israeli. It means that you criticize the government. You know, many Israelis are very critical of their government, and they are not anti the state of Israel, definitely not anti-Semitic. It's a distinction that we shouldn't forget. Okay, so thank you so much for these questions, and thank you.